Hi, Big Dreamers. It's Eva Cartman, host of the Dream Big podcast show, the place to go to learn, laugh, and grow. Although, to be honest, today's episode, there won't be any laughing, because the subject of this episode centers around a terrible tragedy, the passing of basketball legend Kobe Bryant. We live in Los Angeles, where Kobe established himself as one of the greatest basketball players of all time. And the unthinkable helicopter crash that claimed his life, the life of his daughter, and 7 other innocent souls has left his fans here in Los Angeles and across the world in mourning. I had the incredible honor of interviewing Kobe Bryant, of talking one-on-one with him. And that is an experience that I will never forget and will cherish forever. And today I want to share how, while he may no longer be living on Earth, together we can ensure that his legend can and will live on forever. Now, this typically is where I would segue into our upbeat intro song and then Silly Sophia segment of my sister telling jokes. But that doesn't feel right given the nature of this episode, so I want to dive right in. Kobe Bryant's death has been absolutely gut-wrenching for the city of Los Angeles. Kobe was a global icon, but was especially loved here in Los Angeles, where he played 20 years for the Los Angeles Lakers, getting drafted out of high school and playing for the Lakers his entire career. He brought the city of LA 5 NBA championships. He is widely considered to be one of the top 5, if not the best basketball player to ever play the game. My family loved the Lakers. My dad interned for the Lakers when he was in college and was there during the 2000-2001 season when Kobe won his second championship. When Kobe launched his podcast, The Punies, I was blessed to have had the opportunity to interview him on the Dream Big podcast. I'll be including the links to that episode in the show notes. If you listen to the interview, you will hear the excitement in his voice as he talked about this next chapter of his life. While he had retired from the NBA, he found a new passion in storytelling, which is why he created The Punies and Dear Basketball, which won him an Academy Award. But his greatest source of joy was his family, his wife Vanessa and 4 daughters, including Gianna, who lost her life in the helicopter crash as they were on the way to one of her basketball games. Unfortunately, this is not the first time I've talked about death on this podcast. Just last year, another guest that I interviewed on the podcast and someone I greatly admired, Sean Stevenson, passed away. At the time, I recorded an episode called What to Do When Your Hero Dies. I'll link to the episode in our show notes at dreambigpodcast.com/175, and I would encourage you to listen to that episode as well. In that episode, I shared 2 tips for how to cope with the death of someone you admire, and clearly Kobe falls into that category for tens of millions of people around the world. The first step is to keep talking about them. Keep their memory alive. That's one of the reasons why, even though this is such a difficult subject to talk about, I'm recording this podcast. And if you have turned on the TV this past week, you will hear story after story of former teammates, former competitors, former coaches, and just anyone who is lucky enough to meet Kobe share what made him so special. When we first learned of the crash, we went back to our original Instagram post announcing the interview. To be honest, I'm not that active on social media, so I had not seen the post and never noticed that Kobe himself had responded to our Instagram post and wrote, and I quote, "At Eva Cartman, you're an amazing interviewer. Keep dreaming big." Let me put this in perspective. I've interviewed so many amazing people, but Kobe is by far, in a way, the most famous person I've ever had on as a guest on the podcast. Yet he is one of only a few guests that took the time to write to me like that after an interview. That shows what kind of character he had. One of my dad's best friends, Ryan Williams, was in a scary car accident last year in Newport Beach, and by chance, Kobe happened to witness the car crash. He ran over to the scene of the accident to make sure everyone was okay and to see if he could help. It's stories like these and hundreds more being shared by his friends and family that'll help others understand that Kobe was much more than a great basketball player. He was a great person. So the first step when you lose someone you love or admire is to continue to talk about that person. But the second step is even more important, And that is to honor Kobe's memory by taking what you learned from Kobe and making it part of your life. That way, in a sense, Kobe does live on inside of you. Kobe has been in the public eye for over 20 years, and there is no shortage of material to draw inspiration from. If you want to learn about basketball, watch the game footage of Kobe playing the game at the highest level possible and learn from him. If you want to learn about storytelling, listen to the Punies podcast, watch Dear Basketball, read his books, and you will get a masterclass in the art of storytelling. If you want to be inspired by his work ethic, there are countless inspirational speeches and interviews you can find on YouTube where he talks about the Mamba mentality. What's the Mamba mentality? In Kobe's own words, he said, "Mamba mentality is all about focusing on the process and trusting in the hard work when it matters most." Mamba mentality is about 4 a.m. workouts, doing more than the next guy, and then trusting in the hard work that you've put in when it's time to perform. In sum, Kobe said, Mamba mentality means to be able to constantly try to be the best version of yourself. That is what the mentality is. It's a constant quest to try to be better today than you were yesterday. And I can't think of a better way to honor Kobe than to adopt this Mamba mentality. Work harder than you thought was possible. Wake up each and every day trying to become a better version of yourself. I want to thank each and every one of you big dreamers for listening to this podcast. I know it's a very difficult subject, but Kobe was such an inspiration to me and my family. So generous for taking an interview from a then 9-year-old. So gracious to then write to me after our interview. That I felt like this was the least I can do to honor his memory and legacy. Kobe, we will miss you forever. You asked me to keep dreaming big, and with your Mamba mentality guiding me each and every day, that's exactly what I will do. If you haven't heard my interview with Kobe or the episode I did after Sean Stevenson's passing, I will link to both at our show notes at dreambigpodcast.com/175. If this episode helped you at all in coping with the loss of Kobe, please let your friends and family know about this episode as well. This is Eva Cartman reminding you that you have unlimited potential. Your dreams are not optional, you need to make them essential. So take massive action to turn those big dreams into reality. Live with passion, the way life was meant to be. I'll see you in the next episode.